Hi everyone, my name is Ricardo Rodriguez. I'm Senior Manager of Commercial Development for Falabella in Asia. And I'm happy to talk to you guys today about the different local fulfillment models that Falabella has to offer in Latin America and why it makes sense to expand your operations to being locally fulfilled, even if you have a strong cross-border dropshipping operation. So we will start with the different benefits that these models have to offer. Then we'll talk about the uplifts in different key indicators. And lastly, we're gonna have a broad introduction of each one of the models that we operate in the different countries. So to set up a baseline of what local fulfillment means, it means having the products being dispatched to the final customer already within the destination country. And of course, I'm going to talk about the benefits and why it makes sense, but this is just the baseline. Compared to the cross-border where the products are being shipped all the way from Asia to the final customer, in the local fulfillment solutions, they're, as the name defines it, being shipped locally. So we can get started with the different benefits. And these are models that we've operated for a few years now in some of the countries. And so we've been able to experience the uplifts and benefits that they have for our sellers. So we boil them down to 8 points. And some of them are operational, some of them are commercial, some of them are logistics, and some of them are, again, customer experience. But starting on the operational side, if you want to outsource your warehouse operation, perhaps because you don't have an operation locally, or just because you want to enjoy the optimization of this process, this is a benefit that comes with the local fulfillment models, because we will store your goods in our warehouses in few of these models, and I will explain in detail on which ones. And those we will do the picking, the packing, the dispatch, and the last mile of the goods, which takes us to our second point. This warehouse operation allows us to control dispatching times and optimize them. And thus, we see a reduction in cancellations from customer. We normally do this within 24 hours, and thus cancellations are significantly diminished. This also leads to the third point, which is increasing conversion rates and in customer satisfaction. This is closely linked to the fact that our lead times are reduced significantly versus dropshipping and cross-border from weeks to days. So we're going to see specifically what kind of improvements we can see in these indicators. A little bit more on the commercial side, the local fulfillment models will help a lot when it comes to brand buildings. Getting your brands closer to Latin America helps having a strong brand awareness, a stronger behavior from the customer towards your brands, and a stronger cognition of the customer towards your brands. Also, in the same commercial aspect and in the marketing aspect, having your products fulfilled locally within Linio and Falabella enhances the opportunities for your products to be displayed, and thus enhances the traffic and exposure that we give them, and also the campaign inclusion. This obviously has a very healthy result when we combine this with the increase in conversion rates. Again, a little bit more on the logistics side, these models and more in the current situation that we're living for, there's some benefits because we are avoiding the unexpected halt of operations with the current lockdowns that we're having in China, for example. If the products are already fulfilled locally, even if certain cities or certain regions in Asia are in lockdown, your products will still be fulfilled without any issue. On the same line, we are avoiding the rises on shipping costs and the volatility on gas, both of peak season, but again, because of the supply chain issues that we're currently having in the world. So again, this is another benefit that our sellers are really enjoying. Once the product is already in the local country, we avoid a lot of this increases in rates. And last but not least, keeping your store open throughout the year, regardless if it's Chinese holidays or not. It's another benefit, right? Your staff and your whole operation can go on vacations, and your locally fulfilled store will still operate without any problems. So these are pretty much the 8 points. And again, I'm going to mention some of this throughout the presentation on the different models, but this is sort of the baseline of why it makes sense, not only to operate in dropshipping, but also to expand to fulfill locally. And we can go a little bit more into the real uplifts in some of the KPIs that we measure. and a little bit on the direction that Linio and Falabella are having with local fulfillment. So as of 2022, these models already represent about 25% or 1/4 of total Asia sales in the region, which is really healthy when we understand that some of these models are pretty new in some of the markets. And in the country where we've had these models for the longest, which is Mexico, local fulfillment already represents about 70% of the total sales. And this is, again, very significant when we see and we compare to the previous quarter, where we gained about 25 percentage points, meaning that we are gaining a lot of share versus the dropshipping sales. Again, because of all the benefits that we mentioned earlier, and because of the conversion rates being so high in these models. We've been able to work very close with the sellers and select the right products to ship to the local country, and thus increasing a lot this share. With Colombia, it is a very sort of promising results, because we've just started focusing on the region with these models, and within a quarter we gained 26 percentage points. So before, these models were only representing about 2%, and now they're representing about 28%. So we know we're going to be able to grow this to Mexico numbers very quickly. And for Chile and Peru, which are the countries that are starting with these models and that we're starting to focus, 2022 is going to be a complete focus on getting these numbers up to first the Colombia levels, but ultimately all the way to the Mexico levels. So we're confident that we're going to grow this in the region very quick, and we can scale up together with our sellers, because again, we know it represents healthier sales, healthier rotations for sellers, and on the customer side, it represents a superior experience. So I can tell you a little bit more on the specifics of few SKUs, so you have a more tangible idea of what the uplift is in sales. And we just selected few SKUs that we are fulfilling locally, and that we're fulfilling cross-border dropshipping. So, for example, the first one, the Lenovo XT92, it is a best-selling item in dropshipping, but when we took it to local fulfillment, sales increased 24x. And this is very similar to the second model, which increased 20x. And these are, again, the best-selling items that we have in the dropshipping operation. So having now this huge increase in sales on local fulfillment, obviously, sees a super healthy increase on NMV and in items for our sellers. This is not unique to low ticket or to lightweight. We also see this, for example, in cell phones and computers and whatnot. So here you just have a few of the items that that sees these very healthy uplifts. In general and in the total model, and when it comes to conversion rates, we see that the locally fulfilled models have 4 times the amount of conversion than cross-border dropshipping. So obviously, if we allocate the same amount of traffic to both models, dropshipping and local fulfillment, the sales in local fulfillment are much higher. And again, the experience is higher, which then leads to repurchase and to a stronger bond with your brand and your products. So we can go a little bit more into detail into the different models that we have, and we pretty much have 3 different models that are trying to do the same objective, which is fulfilling those products locally. But we had to create different models because different countries have different regulations. Let's start with FBL, Fulfilled by Linio. This is a model that operates right now only in Mexico, again, because it is something that Mexican regulations allow, differently than Chile, Peru, and Colombia, where pure consignment is not allowed. I will go into explanation in the next slide. So Fulfilled by Linio is pure consignment, and perhaps you already are aware of this model because most marketplaces have some kind of one-step solution to local fulfillment like this one in Mexico. So we have our one-step solution, and you can grow your business by leveraging our logistic network in this one-step fulfillment solution. What do you have to do to get started? You need to make a proposal of the goods that you would like to send to a local warehouse, and pretty much after being approved in a very simple process, you need to ship those products to our local warehouse in Mexico by your own means. If you don't have a logistic muscle to do this, we can certainly introduce you to some of the logistic partners that some of our sellers are using currently. And once we receive those products in a local warehouse, it is time to sell. And one of the key points of these models is that you get enhanced visibility, exposure, and campaign inclusion. And more than this, you get a special badge for customers to identify that these products are being fulfilled locally. So even if you're an international seller, they will see this badge and they know already, they identify that it means that these products are being fulfilled from Mexico, from our Mexico warehouse. The badge is the one that you see here on top of the SKU. It translates as receiving 24 hours. And this happens to most of the cities in Mexico. But if it's not 24 hours, it is a much faster delivery. Again, if we're comparing with cross-border, it goes from weeks to few days, if not few hours. So this badge really helps differentiate, and again, is what aids our conversion rates and the whole flow. So once a customer places an order, we will handle the picking, the packing, the shipping, and then the customer service, and in case there's any, the returns of those orders. And our customers will have just a superior experience, right? It is a much faster lead time, and they know these products are being held in the Linio warehouse, so they know the products are going to arrive in a very careful way with our existing carriers. From your side, then you just have to wait for your bi-weekly statement. This is the same sort of statement that we have with drop shipping, so we pay every 2 weeks on your Pioneer account in Asia. So that's a little bit of fulfillment by Linio. Again, this is pure consignment, as it is known in the industry. And I will now talk about the second model that we have, which is FPF. And FPF is a model that operates in Chile, Peru, and Colombia, and it's a hybrid consignment model. It is hybrid because, as I was mentioning earlier, regulations do not allow to have pure consignment in these countries, and thus we had to create a model that could benefit from sort of the consignment option, thus leading it in a retail way. So because it is in nature sort of a retail operation, we first have to create you as vendors of Falabella. So the first step is to prepare your documentation to create you as vendors. And of course, we will share with you the list of requirements that we have. But more than this, we just need a quotation from your side for your products that you're trying to fulfill in this model. It can be FOB or it can be ex-works. And after step 2, then you should just pretty much be ready to ship. So you need documents for being able to ship, so to export. So this is also a requirement for the model. On step 2, as I was mentioning, it is pretty much time to ship after we have agreed on a quantity, on a quotation. If it's ex-work, we'll pick it up in Asia for you. And if it's FOB, then we'll give you a designated warehouse to ship it to within Asia, within Shenzhen most of the times, or Hong Kong. We will take the logistics side of this. So with our own accounts and our own logistic muscle, we will bring those products to Latin America, and thus we enjoy better rates, which impacts obviously the final price to customer. Once the products arrive to the final country, then just like in FPL, they are differentiated by a badge in our website. And a very important benefit about FPF is you get to sell both in Linio.com and in Falabella.com. This doesn't happen in FPL, in the previous model, because we don't have Falabella.com in Mexico, but in Chile, Peru, and Colombia, we have both sides. So by operating on the FPF, you actually get to sell in 2 different marketplaces. And both marketplaces have this distinction badge. The first one is the same as we already saw from Linio, receiving 24 hours. And the second one, which is from Falabella.com, it says sold by Falabella. Why is this important? Because Falabella is a very trusted brand in Latin America, one of the most trusted brands, actually. So seeing your product, your brand linked to Falabella has huge benefits. And we see this again in conversion rates. When they see that these are products sold by Falabella, they trust the whole process and the whole brand, and thus they have sort of a less difficult decision to make, and those conversion rates are much higher. Once they place an order, we will handle the picking, the packing, the shipping, the customer service, and if there's any, the returns of all these orders. And again, the customers have a much superior experience because of the fast lead times. Finally, and this is a little bit of where the hybrid model comes in, is we will pay you every 2 weeks via bank transfer what you've sold. However, if we haven't completely rotated the whole shipment or the whole order that we placed originally with you within 60 days, we will fully pay you the remainder. Why we do this is because under the international trade aspect of this, it is a retail purchase. And these products are imported on Falabella's name. So we have to own the goods in order to sell them. So we have the confidence that what we agreed on when it comes to a price and a quantity, that we can rotate it within 60 days. So actually Falabella is the owner of the pricing, for example, which is differently to FPL, where you are still the owner of those products and of the pricing. But in this model, again, because of the existing regulations, we become the controllers of the price. And thus we offer to you that if you allow us to manage the pricing and the push, then that if we don't sell within those 60 days, that we will pay 100% of what's remainder of the stock. So again, just to make it clear, before 60 days, you're going to be paid every 2 weeks what you've sold. After 60 days, whatever of the stock is remaining that was not sold, we will fully pay you for that stock, and finishing the payment of that order. Then I'm going to talk about the last model that we have, which is Celeron fulfillment model. This is a much newer model. We just piloted in some of the countries. It's just starting and it has really good results. And this is for sellers that have fulfillment capabilities in the destination country. So this model is not for everyone. It is for sellers that have a local entity in Chile, Peru, Colombia, or Mexico, or all of them, and that thus can import the products and can be owners of the products in the final country. This operation is quite simple. You need to ship the products to your own warehouse, or perhaps you already have them in the warehouse locally, of course. And then we just need to integrate you with one of our carriers. If you're not already working with one of the carriers that we work with, we can introduce you to some of them, but we also offer our last mile solution, which is home delivery in Chile, Peru, and Colombia. Again, by doing this, we can optimize the whole workflow, and thus it leads to a higher experience, or to our superior experience. Once a customer places an order, then it is you who process, who pick and pack and ship the order. And once again, the customers have a superior experience because these products are being fulfilled in a few days. In this model, we pay every 2 weeks, just like in FPL, in your Pioneer account in Asia. So even if you're operating locally with a local entity, we can still pay you in your Pioneer account. So these are the different models. They all have a different value proposition, and they all have great benefits, as we've already seen. So just to wrap up the presentation, what we're aiming to do with local fulfillment models is to have international brands with dropshipping prices being fulfilled locally with local lead times. And this has key benefits, right? It gets your brands much closer to the Latin American markets, and thus you have stronger brand awareness from the customers and behavior and cognition. There is definitely increasing conversion rates and in customer satisfaction while you outsource your warehouse operation. And finally, you get enhanced exposure, traffic, and campaign inclusion within Falabella and Linio, thus resulting in much higher sales. So if you have any question, please don't doubt to contact me or the rest of the team. We will share with you a little bit more of the details and the presentations, where you can see every single requirement and aspect of these models. But this is just a broad introduction to the models. I hope you are convinced, such as I am, that these are a great option to complement your dropshipping operation and to have a very healthy, locally fulfilled operation. Thank you very much, and thank you.
好，非常感谢Ricardo 为我们带来的分享啊。Ricardo 现在在墨西哥出差，那过一段时间呢也会回到深圳和所有的卖家朋友们见面，更好的帮助卖家朋友们在我们 Linio 平台进行经营。那今天啊，我们也是特别邀请到了我们 Linio 的项目经理 Jason 来为大家对于这一 part， 也就是关于海外仓相关的内容进行一个答疑，好不好？刚才我们已经看到直播间很多卖家朋友们就是已经留言了，看到了小龙、Echo 还有姑姑，好多朋友们都已经问，哎，这个海外仓啊，到底这个模式怎么用啊，对不对？那今天是请到了我们 Jason 给大家做一个中文的解答。
好的，那各位卖家朋友，你们好，我叫 Jason， 是负责 Linio 海外仓的项目经理。今天刚刚 Ricardo 那边是英文的视频，然后给大家讲解了大概20分钟的干货。那我这边看看大家有什么疑问，现场为大家用中文解答。在前面的话，我看到小龙提到一个问题，是否能先直邮，然后后续更改做海外仓？那我觉得这个问题非常好。在目前的话，平台是没有这个硬性的条件的，就是咱们是可以先做直邮，然后后续做海外仓，不同的模式，像刚刚 Ricardo 在视频里面 提到的3种海外餐模式都可以参与，后面再做转改。那前面做直邮再做一个海外餐可以，然后先直接做海外餐，不做直邮也可以，没有任何问题。那关于 Echo 提到一个问题，就是如何申请 FBL 卖家。这个问题跟下面的 Google 提到的一个问题是一样的，就是如何成为 FBL 的卖家。那这里的话，我可以为大家简单的解答，就是咱们成为卖家的前提是先要成为 Linio 的卖家，然后才能成为 FBL 海外餐的卖家。那这个成为卖家呢，可以先联系我们的招商负责人 Cherry， 还有他们的招商团队。后面成为了卖家以后，可以跟这些招商经理去沟通怎么去成为 FBL 的卖家。目前我能给大家解答的就是 FBL 卖家目前没有硬性的门槛，就是更多的是在于咱们的一个类目 SKU 的选品能够有一个非常好的销量，品牌不错，价格不错，质量不错，然后就可以成为我们的海外餐入餐，然后做一个海外餐的销售。
所以就大家都有机会，对不对？
对。
先成为我们的卖家，怎么成为？扫描屏幕右边的二维码，加入到我们群里，我们官方呢会发放入驻的绿色通道，赶快填写哦。
在中间 Barrett 有一个问题是问有没有官方海外餐。那这里的话，中间咱们视频 Ricardo 里面有提到，就是我们有官方的海外餐。但目前的官方海外餐呢是，像刚刚提到的有2种方式，一种是 FBL 的模式，一种是 FBF 的模式。FBL 的模式就是墨西哥那边特有的官方海外餐。这个模式的话呢，就是商家可以把货发送到我们的墨西哥官方海外餐，然后货出单以后就能自行发货，这是第一种模式。第2种模式呢，就是FBF 的模式，在智利、秘鲁、哥伦比亚我们都有自己的官方海外餐。这种模式的话，就是像中间提到的 FBF 的模式，货进入我们的仓库以后，等到出单以后，每2周我们会结算，然后等到60天，第60天如果货还没有卖光售罄，我们会一次性支付剩余的货款，一次性买断。这就是目前的2种官方海外餐的模式。我看一下还有什么问题啊？像 Real 有一个问题，我觉得问的非常经典哦，也是非常多的卖家都会问的一个问题：海外餐发货模式是先发货到智利仓库，出单的仓库发货是吧？这个问题要看，因为您的前提是说发货到智利仓库，那我这里先默认咱们是做 FBF 的模式，因为前面说到的 FBL 的模式是墨西哥特有的，然后智利的话是 FBF 的模式或者 SOF 的模式。那海外餐的模式发货到智利仓库的话，我们不需要卖家把货发到智利的仓库，更多的是让卖家把货在深圳或者香港或者中国大陆的其他地方都可以交付给我们，是 FOB 的报价或者 Xwork 出厂价，然后在中国境内或者香港地区交付货物以后，我们 Falabella 自行会把货转运，从中国这边转运到智利，然后再入仓。就是其实说白了就是从中国地区货物交付以后，就没有卖家再需要多操心的事情了，更多的是我们 Falabella 后续的一个操作行为。然后出单的话也是 Falabella 当地的智利仓库也会做一个拣货、打包、尾程派送等等一系列操作。中间 Alex 有一个问题，国内发货到海外仓大约要多久？这个问题的话，就是跟物流那边有很强的关联。这个物流的话，跟目前的一个全球的疫情，
都有关。
对全球的运力非常有深刻的联系。那只能说，在疫情没有大爆发、比较正常常规的一个情况下的话，物流从中国这边的深圳或者香港地区发到我们智利、拉美等各国地区，它的一个空运大概的时间可能是3周左右， 这是一个比较典型的一个时效。然后我们目前也有做海运，海运的话可能会稍微到久一点，可能是1个到1个半月之间。
有一个问题啊，其实我特别想替就是子鸟的卖家朋友们问一下，就经常会问，那如果我选择官方海外仓的话，优势是在哪里呢？
如果成为官方海外仓的卖家的话，其实它有好几个非常典型的优势，就是从客户的一个角度来看，买家体验来看的话，因为官方海外仓就意味着货已经在本地了。
对，
那本地发货模式的话，就有点像咱们在国内的，像做京东的自营，咱们下单可能货在1到2天就能送达了，
非常快，
非常快，买家的一个购物体验非常好。
那
如果是跨境直邮的话，货都是基本要从中国这边大陆境内发出，或者转香港那边发出，这是几周的一个时效。但是本地发货、海外仓的发货可能就是2天、3天的一个时效，就完全一个质量的不同。
是，确实啊，给卖家带来的体验感其实是最不一样的。尤其啊，你看像我们这样的年轻人，就真的是我们买东西从来都不会计划，都不会说我留很久的时间，不会的，都是越快越好。今天我想买什么，明天我就要拿到手，所以说这是海外仓很大的一个优势。
对。
我们再看一下卖家的问题，如果你对这一趴有问题，赶快问啊！很难得请到我们的项目经理来到我们的直播间。
中间有一个问题 ，Diego 提到的 FBF 的模式是我们交货给 Linio 去卖吗？我们不用做销售吗？利润算我们的吗？那这个问题的话，是 FBA 的一个模式本质的一个解释，我在这里大概做一个解答。FBF 的模式是咱们卖家在中国大陆境内或者香港地区交付给平台，Linio 也可以称为 Falabella， 是按一个 FOB 或者 S-Work 的价格交付。交付以后，货会通过 Falabella 的物流来从中国放到拉美地区的国家，像智利、秘鲁、哥伦比亚，然后我们后续的一个销售、上架、参报活动、发货等等一系列的流程，一站式的解决方案，全都是 Falabella 自己执行，不需要卖家去做任何的操作。那在这里的话，利润会怎么算？FBF 的模式在前面 Ricardo 的视频有提到 ，FBF 的模式是卖家提供 FOB 的报价，就好像你们提供一个成本价，例如 A 价格，然后在中国地区交付给我们，我们在智利会有一个 A 加%多少的一个溢价，给到终端卖家，那中间这个溢价是 Falabella 经过成本核算以后去提加的，那咱们回款订单出售以后，商品的一个货值回款是回 FOB 的价格，就像我前面提到的 A 的价格，就中间的溢价是跟卖家暂时没有联系的，对，所以卖家就在这个模式下会更直接的像 B2B 的模式，只需要把货交给咱们平台，然后只收一个出厂价的一个回款即可。
其实这个对于有一些是工厂型的卖家或者有自己品牌卖家是非常友好的，因为他们如果是不懂平台的运营规则，就是可以把这个交给平台去做这个运营。
对的，就非常省心，让大家不用说有太多的一个运营的一个方向。对。
好，那问题啊，我们差不多回答到这儿。那如果你还有问题，可以在群里进行一个提问，我们工作人员都会帮您进行解答。好了，那下面一个环节干嘛？
是咱们抽奖环节吗？
是的，您说对了。这一轮呢，我们奖品是给大家准备的非常高级，而且是白领啊、小资啊都很喜欢的一种礼品，它是我们的咖啡机，而且是松下的咖啡机哦。大家想不想要？想不想要？可以内定吗？Livia 说想要，可以内定一下吗？不行，就是送给我们今天直播间的卖家朋友，对不对？今天我看直播间还有好几百人同时在线啊！天哪，那大家在线的朋友们，大家跟我们互动一下好不好？然后我们呢也会跟大家准备一个福袋，福袋已经出现了，大家快点点我们左上角的福袋哦。这一轮的福袋啊，我们点击这个，有没有发现这个 slogan 非常不一样 ？slogan 是什么？新的起点，你亦是领航者。 这个 slogan 啊是去年我们 Falabella 重新整合 falabella.com 的时候啊推出来的一句 a new starting point， 中文译过来就是新的开始，你亦是领航者，寓意着就是在拉美这片蓝海市场里面，跟着全新的 Linio Falabella 一起，你可以成为新兴市场的领航者，也可以爆单大卖。也祝直播间的各位卖家朋友们今年能够顺风顺水，爆单大卖。哇，这个祝福太棒了，听起来就让我们非常开心啊！还有1分钟的时间，大家快点互动哦！直播间的朋友，我们转发我们今天的直播间到您的朋友圈好不好？这么一个大的礼品，这么棒的礼品，是想让您的朋友、家人都能够获得，对不对？哎，今天全部都是随机抽奖，您转发我们的朋友圈。然后让更多的人看到我们平台，看到我们今天的干货，那就都有机会获得我们今天的奖品哦。还有40秒钟的时间。Jason 要不要再提醒一下我们的卖家朋友们关于海外仓的一些重点呢？
好的，要不我在评论区里面再选一个
问题，
非常简单的一个问题。那在这里面的话，我能看到一个问题，就是很多卖家会问，目前做海外仓的话，有什么类目会比较推荐？那在这里的话，根据我们的平台特性的话，其实我们的平台 Falabella 平台 Linio 平台，它是一个综合性的平台，就没有说偏班或者说优先哪一个类目会更优先。但是在海外仓的模式的话，至少 FBF 的模式目前可能会更看重一个电子产品。那在 FBL 的模式，墨西哥那一边的话，除了电子产品，还有刚刚像 Peter 提到的，前面一个嘉宾提到的 Peter， 他提到的 Fashion 啊，他 Home Appliances 啊，就是家庭的一个类目，其实都是有非常的一个潜力。我们这边也是多多推荐各位卖家有手上的资源可以多多参与。
哎呀，已经开奖啦，我们来看一下好不好？
好的。
哎，这位朋友是字母 J 开头的，字母 J 开头的这位卖家朋友，您在我们的直播间吗？您在吗？恭喜您中奖了，松下的咖啡机，太幸运了！这个礼品我们刚才直播间都沸腾了，都很想抱走，被我们的卖家朋友抱走了。字母 J 开头的这位朋友，在不在我们的直播间呢？OK， 恭喜您啊！可以在我们群里联系 Linio 官方的工作人员，那也可以在我们视频号的后台进行私信留言，留下您的联系方式。Jeremy 说你也是字母 J 啊，不是你。好了啊！如果没有中奖，不要灰心啊，我们等一下还有好礼呢。那同时这一轮呢，我们还给大家准备了一个小礼品，这个是由马帮为大家提供的致富秘籍，想不想秘籍？前50名可以免费包邮。现在啊，在送福利的时间，可以进群扫描2维码，填写一下您的联系方式，前50名限量前50可以获得跨境卖家人手都要有一本的2022年跨境增长干货秘籍，想要的朋友们可以进我们的群里进行领取。好了，那这一个部分呢，我们就分享到这儿。Jason， 非常感谢您的解答，请您稍事休息一下。
谢谢。